Yo, what is up? My name is Rednu, and today I want to talk about whether or not you should pull for Sweep Tosho or the support card banner featuring the SSR Taiki Shuttle or the SR Oguri Cap. If this is helpful to you, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Use code MAMBO for 10% off your gamer subs. Let's get right into it. So let's go ahead and take a look at Sweep Tosho's victory poses and the unique skill courtesy of D. Ida. Very cute. Very detailed outfit too. There's a lot going on. So if we take a look at Sweep Tosho, we can notice a couple things. First of all, stat bonuses, 10% speed, 20% power. This is really nice if you were interested in doing any Guts builds, because Guts, when you train it, will train speed and power simultaneously. And so having more bonuses for speed and power is going to make Sweep Tosho a lot more easier to build, or rather do Guts builds on. If we take a look at her aptitude, we could see that she is going to be a turf horse. We have mile and medium stats on the distance, and she is going to primarily want to be a late surger or an end closer. If we take a look at some of her skills, you're going to see that she really highly prefers being an end closer. When it comes to her long aptitude, if she does get like 7 stars worth of long sparks, she can be built such that she will have a rating in long, which is very feasible and very easy to do, and probably something I would suggest. We'll talk about it a little later. So if we take a look at her unique skill, Victory Belongs to Me, Strelitzia. If positioned toward the back and racing calmly until the start of the final corner, when there are 300 meters remaining, cast a magic spell to increase velocity continuously. So basically up until the final corner, if she is not rushed, and if she stays in the bottom half of the pack, so, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then on the 300 meter mark, when there's only 300 meters left, she will activate this big burst of speed. 6-second duration is pretty nice. It's not a greatly boosted speed, but 6-second duration is probably going to be enough to kind of cover the entire last spurt, which is ideal for Sweep Tosho over here. So nothing too crazy in terms of like a unique skill. She has velocity. Let's take a look at her innate skills. If we take a look at her innate skills, she does have trick, rear. And while this skill does seem kind of cool in terms of like, okay, we're going to drain stamina from other Umamusume, it's important to note that this skill only works against Umamusume who are or have rushed, right, throughout the entire race. And that's just going to make it very niche. It's going to make it very weak. And I would highly advise never picking up this skill that is kind of signature to Sweep Tosho, because it's included in pretty much every SR, or rather every support card featuring Sweep Tosho, including her SSR, her SR Speed, and her SR Wit. Moving on, we have After School Stroll, slight reduced fatigue on a downhill. This is an end closer unique heal, and it's one of the good ones. This is a end closer unique heal that's also on Gold Ship, and is primarily why Gold Ship is so versatile and why she's able to be built in such a way, because After School Stroll, and also for Gold Ship she has Go Home Specialist. It allows her to not focus too much on stamina and pretty much focus on the stats that matter, which is speed, power, and wit, right? So Sweep Tosho has it too. Basically on a downhill, she's going to be able to heal, which is very nice. She also has Take the Chance, which is a newer acceleration skill, but it's basically a medium distance specific late race random acceleration skill. So during the late race section, at a random point within it, only on medium distance tracks, she's going to have an acceleration boost, which, you know, could be good, could be bad. The purpose of these skills are really to kind of just pad out your acceleration, because some of them are going to be a random and some of them are going to be guaranteed. And so Take the Chance can potentially decide the game, right? It can potentially give you an extra boost against very strong Umamusume to get that little bit more acceleration and go for the home stretch. Very fine acceleration skill. Medium distance tracks, it is not too expensive as well, so I would definitely highly suggest getting it for medium distance tracks in particular, especially because Sweep Tosho doesn't really have a lot of ways to accelerate on medium distance tracks, which we'll take a look. Awakening skills include Intense Gaze. This is a velocity debuff skill. It's actually pretty good. It's basically only unique to end closers, which again, just to emphasize, we really want her to be an end closer, not necessarily a late surger, okay? And if we take a look at Intense Gaze, we see that it does decrease current speed. So current speed on late race, like, okay, target speed during late race, who cares? But current speed during the late race actually is not too bad at all. I think this is a great skill. It is a little expensive, but if you do have the skill points for it, I would definitely highly suggest picking it up. Now, past that, we do have Go Home Specialist, reduce fatigue on a downhill. This is a gold version of After School Stroll. After School Stroll is a good heal. Go Home Specialist is a great heal, especially for long distance tracks, which I think Sweep Tosho could definitely be useful on, because end closers happen to be pretty nice on long distance tracks, because the acceleration zone usually starts on the backstretch, which is a straight, and straightaway spurt will activate as soon as you enter that late race acceleration zone because it starts on a straight. So long distance tracks is something that Sweep Tosho can absolutely do with the right sparks, and because she has Go Home Specialist, I would even argue and say that she is well suited to be a long distance racer. Moving on, we see level 4 straightaway spurt. Straightaway spurt is going to be her level 4 awakening skill. It is the bread and butter acceleration skill for pretty much any end closer. It is a fantastic skill that you would want to see on pretty much any Umamusume that wants to be an end closer. And the fact that it comes innately on her kit is very good, because it saves yourself from, you know, bad runs where you do not get straightaway spurt, either from sparks or from support cards. So straightaway spurt being inherent on her kit, very nice. That being said, it is very common in very good cards, such as Mr. CB Wit card, right? It just happens to be a very highly coveted skill when it comes to sparks. So you're not going to get like an extra hint boost on it. But if you do use the skill books, you can definitely increase the hint level starting for straightaway spurt and definitely get a lot more out of it. And definitely help reduce the high base cost of 180. This is a guaranteed acceleration skill. It's a top tier acceleration skill, and for an end closer, it's everything you really want to see. Moving on, you do have level 5. This is Petrifying Gaze. Unnerve runners in focus late race. This is the gold version of Intense Gaze, and this skill is, I think, pretty okay. It's pretty expensive. It is a gold skill. If you do have the extra skill points, I would say definitely go ahead and grab it. But that being said, I probably would just stick around to the white skill, because as you can see, you are going to be paying 180 for 15 and 180 for just a boost of 10, which is okay, but it's basically just if you have the points, get it. Otherwise, it's not very necessary. Skills from events will include Slipstream, which is a fantastic velocity skill for end closers. Now, keep in mind that skills from events, these usually refer to their character events and the career-related events that will not be able to be seen during the Track Blazer scenario. But Slipstream is a fantastic velocity skill. End closer corners is a fantastic velocity skill for an end closer. And yes, unfortunately, she is going to get something like a gate-kept sort of starting boost skill, in that she basically, historically, Sweep Tosho had some late starts, and so this is going to affect her starting time, and is something you have to pay to remove. Only on scenarios that are not Track Blazer, though, right? Because you will not see this event on Track Blazer. There is a skill here for Sweep Tosho that you don't really see, or rather you cannot see on anyone else, and that is going to be Restraint. Restraint does appear to be a fantastic skill. You get 60 more wit, and you also decrease their rush chance, and this is just always active. So very interesting skill for Sweep Tosho. She's going to get Restraint when she wins the Takarazuka Kinen in her senior year. It'll also heal the "You're Not the Boss of Me" sort of gate-kept skill. +3 hints for Restraint, and on a very unique skill that only she appears to be able to get. I'd say that this is a pretty cool skill. It's a white skill too. You might be able to even pass it down. So all in all, Sweep Tosho, I would say, is a very solid, fantastic end closer racer. And in particular, I do think that she is going to find a lot of her expertise in the mile distance tracks. Anytime where her unique skill is going to be able to cover the majority of the duration of that final spurt, I do think she is well more suited for it. However, I do think that you can as well make her for a long distance tracks just because she has go home specialist, which allows her to skip some of the stamina requirements with that gold heal that's just guaranteed on her kit. On medium distance tracks, I do think she is going to struggle because there are not that many medium distance G1s that have a the acceleration late race start on a straight. However, for mile distance, right, you're going to see a lot of Tokyo G1s like the NHK Mile Cup, like the Yasuda Kinen, where you see very perfect straight acceleration zones, right? And on top of that, for long distance tracks, pretty much Kikusho, you start the acceleration zone on a straight in the backstretch. Arima Kinen Nakayama is going to be on the backstretch, right? Tenosha Spring, Kyoto 3200 meter, that's also on the backstretch. You're going to see Sweep Tosho definitely be able to be used on tracks just like Gold Ship. However, it is important to note that Sweep Tosho is not a Gold Ship. Her unique skill is a last spurt velocity skill. It's not a skill like Gold Ships that kind of allows her to creep up towards the front of the pack very quickly during the middle of the race. And so, is she going to be meta defining? Absolutely not. But I do think she's a fantastic racer. Definitely really fun to sort of throw on a lot of different tracks. And so I think Sweep Tosho is a fantastic Oshi pick. Moving on, let's talk about the support card banners. And this is going to be pretty quick. Taiki Shuttle SSR speed card. Now, this card isn't like super bad, really. You have 5% race bonus, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, a lot of speed SSRs only really have 5% race bonus. And this is the same even if you happen to get all max copies. You do have speed bonus, skill point bonus, and with one limit break, you do have power bonus on top of this, and another speed bonus. So 2 speed bonus, 1 skill point bonus, 1 power bonus is not too bad at all. That said, you are not getting the speed bonus and skill point bonus when the bond gauge is less than 80. And so it's kind of like, okay, in terms of like unique effects, I don't really particularly like these ones, especially with bonuses, right? Because it kind of requires you to build a lot of your bond with them and make bad training decisions that you normally wouldn't want to make. When you do max limit break Taiki Shuttle, she is going to get 10% training effectiveness. So the stats aren't bad. You have 50 specialty priority. You got a bunch of bonuses, right? Speed and power at minimum, and then another speed and skill point bonus over there, right? 5% race bonus. It's not bad at all. However, I wouldn't say that this is a meta card. I wouldn't say that this is a card you should spend a lot of carrots on personally. If you are super into mile distance tracks, she does come loaded with a bunch of valuable skills for mile. Mile straightaways being one. You have shifting gears as well, which is another velocity skill unique to mile distance tracks. Speed Eater is great for front runners and pace chasers. Just to do a velocity sort of debuff on the enemies. And we have Mile Maven, the gold mile skill, which is a fantastic, great mile skill. It's an early race boost of speed after 5 seconds has passed. So you're going to get a lot of effectiveness out of it. And yeah, I mean, Mile Maven, or rather this card, is going to be very good for particularly mile distance tracks and building into Umamusume for a mile champions meeting. And so I would highly consider borrowing this card if you do, for whatever reason, have a gap in speed cards, like if you don't have Narita Top Road, if you don't have Kitasan Black. If you have a gap in speed cards and you are building for a mile champions meet or just a race, whatever, right, then this is a fantastic speed card. But otherwise, I would say that it's not a must pull for pretty much anyone. It's not something you're going to spend a lot of your carrots on, and it's a pretty easy skip. So Oguri Cap SR Guts card, it's not really too much. I mean, we have 6% race bonus at base. If you have max limit break, once you know, enough time has passed and you collect all the cards, you will have 10% race bonus. As far as like the stats goes, 30% friendship bonus, 5% training effectiveness, a speed bonus. It's not really too much to write home about in terms of her stats, but that's to be expected for Guts cards, or rather for SR cards, right? If we take a look at her skills, she has a lot of different support hints, one of which is Nimble Navigator, which is pretty cool. Groundwork is not too bad either for front runners especially, right? And so we see some good hints here and there, but because there are so many different skills that she could give a hint for, it's kind of hard to target exactly the good ones like Nimble Navigator, like Groundwork. Skills from events include Wet Conditions, which is at the final of her chain event, and that's okay, you know, it's not anything crazy. And so the Guts card, even if you do happen to pull this, even if you do happen to maximum break it, it's gonna have very, 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 very niche uses. I could argue like the best use case for this card would be if you're building for a wet racetrack and you're building like a supporting front runner who would want Nimble Navigator and Groundwork. That's probably the best use case for it, but it's a Guts card and it's just not gonna fit a lot in many deck compositions. That's gonna be it for me. Like and sub, use code Mambo 10% for gamer subs. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.